What excuses are you making? We always make it seem like no matter what we do, things will always stay the same. That our life has a predetermined destination. That no matter how much we tweak, no matter how much we would adjust, no matter how much we would work, nothing will really change all that much. And it really comes down to exposure. Exposure of people around us. Like, what have they done? What do they do? And I'm talking about the closest circle that we have, our family members, the people that we live with, the people that we work with. What do they do, and how does that affect you? It's something that we really and truly have to think about, because if we don't think about it, if we become unaware, unconscious, and just live through the motions, we get stuck in a loop. And in that loop, we define ourselves. And that's a dangerous game to play, because that's not who we were built to be. That's not what we were meant to do. But we get carried away because of that's what everyone else is doing. And that's the notion that we stick with. Those are the preconceived notions that we abide by. But in reality, there's so much more. And it's funny because we know it. We know that there's a little more to us. We know that if we just open our horizons, put a little more effort, and more importantly, if we start to understand a little bit more, if we start to analyze and become aware of the situations that we're involved in, I do believe with all my heart that things will change. For better or for worse, you make it better. Change is just change. It is not good. It is not bad. It's what you make of it. It's the perspective that you have about it. Exposure is key. Exposure can be essential, can be crucial. Just because you don't necessarily have it right away, just being aware of the exposure that you do have, the closest people to you. Just becoming aware of that little fact of what goes on around you can tremendously shift your paradigm, can tremendously shift the way you operate and you think. From the outside looking in, it might not seem like I've changed much, if at all. But I am truly, truly grateful of all the little adjustments that I've made over the course of the years. Because even though it might not seem much to the people outside looking in, to me, inside looking out, everything is changing, and so rapidly that it has taken a number of years to get to this point where it still seems, like I said, from the outside looking in, that not much has changed. But in terms of my mentality, where my heart is set, my character, my spirit, it has transformed in a way that I could not have imagined ever before. I attribute that, of course, to God first and foremost, and then to the knowledge that I'm seeking, to the time that I'm dedicating to take a pause, understand, and analyze where I'm at. To take the time to pause and analyze, to see what is around me, who is around me, and what are they doing. And even though I might love them, I care for them, but if they're not moving in the way that I want to go, in the way that I need to move, then I have to set certain boundaries. I have to say that that's what they're doing, and I love them and I care for them, and they'll continue to do that most likely. But I have to change trajectory. I can no longer stay in the same pillar, in the same room, in the same space, and think that something is going to magically change, that someone is going to come and save me. That's not the case. I have to be so intentional and so deliberate with my thinking, with the way that I perceive my world, and the way that I talk about my world, and the way that I do and move. Even though I might not know what the 10th step might be in my path, I can see the very next one. And that very next one is the one I have to take. I'm not going to take a step back. I'm not going to take a step to the side, prolonging what is rightfully mine. I'm going to take each step that I can see, whether that reading a book, whether that reading a page, whether that be reading a paragraph, understanding, taking the time to journal out my thoughts or speak into existence what I want, or just start to envision what it is that I actually want. Because not a lot of us know what we truly want. And that's why we get held up. We want the superficial stuff. We want the external stuff. But when it comes in here, we absolutely don't know what we want. And that, my friend, is the first step if you don't know where to go. But you can do it. Honestly, you can do it. It doesn't take much, but it does take deliberation. It does take intention. There are no excuses here. There is the next step that you can take. The only excuse that exists is the excuse that you make real. So let's get moving.